You stand with us. Great organization. Great organization. We're good? Okay. All right. Oh, wait, did I open this? All right, Cantor. We ready to start? We'll get 10. 1 minute. All right, let me see. Is everybody here?
So give it to your mom. This one.
You ready? Boker Tov, everyone.
Sit down now. Sit down.
Leave it here. Leave it up here. Don't worry. Shabbat Shalom.
What is your speech?
No, sir.
Can you tell me Dad to bring
Quickly. Welcome to the Bat Mitzvah service of Sophia Sarraf. We're going to begin on page 65 with Birchot HaShachar, the blessings over the dawn. Please rise. We respond Amen after each and every bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasach v'yina l'v'chaim beinu u'mein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani b'tzalmaho Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorein. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pakech evrehim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam al bisharu mihim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam atir asurihim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kifufihim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam markar sal hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasali kol tzarkihi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamichli mitzad ligaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam azer Yisrael b'gevuraha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam atir Yisrael b'tifaraha. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam haten lev koach. You may be seated. We continue silently until the bottom of the page. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam. Uneina hayama v'chol yamu l'chaynu chesarachamim be'enecha v'reinu k'reinu k'milenu chasadim tovim Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'emo Yisrael Hiratzah v'fadecha l'neho v'tahai. Asherinu matel kelkenu manayim gorleinu mayafro shatinu asherinu shenanakrim nashkimi rivim arvavakarim pamamachayam Shema Yisrael l'nai Eloheinu l'nai echad Baruch Shem kivod l'machoto le'olam ba'ed Atusha l'olam atu m'nashal l'olam atu l'olam hazeh Kadesh Shalom Kadesh Mecha Kadesh Shalom Mecha Shutzcha Torim Tkav Karneinu Baruch Atanam Kadesh Shalom Rabihim Atu Mishmam. Beit havi etchem, veikat bi etchem, ki etenet etchem l'shem b'tei b'chlem haaretz, b'shechem l'nechem amar Adonai. Page 70. Rabbi Yishmael Mer b'shlosh esrei medot haton Joshua mikal v'chlom b'zeh shava mivinam mivicham mivinam kenshkenim miklal fart mipratu klal. Devar me mino, devar me sofo, v'chein shnichnu ha'machushim zed shava ha'katuv l'shuchim b'neihem. Here tzom yochanach l'nol l'vatenu, shetin cholkein b'ter techla minam midam te'el shanaka, noheim, ha'shav rob, ohevet briotum or korvan lato raha. Page 71, the Kaddish de Rabbanan. All those in mourning or observing a yortzeit, please join me. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divrach l'ritzei v'yamlich machutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'chayed chol beit Yisrael ba'gala v'izman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha brechu. Leila min kol birchata b'shirata tushbachata b'nechamata damiran be'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Al Yisrael v'al Rabbanan v'al Tamidei v'al kol Tamidei hon v'al kol man daskin be'oraita divatra hadein v'di b'chol atav atar Yehon elchon shlama rabba china v'chista v'rachamin v'chayin arichinu mezonada v'cha ufor kana amin kadam avuhon divishmaya v'imaru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim tovim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu v'rachamav yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. We may be seated. We continue page 72, Shir Shel Yom, the Psalm for Shabbat. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh, Shabum Livrei Tamigdash, Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Tov L'Ado L'Nai, L'Namer L'Mishal, Yom L'Agi, B'Bocher Chasecha, V'Mincha B'Leilot, Alay Asor, Alay Navagal, you know. Sadik Katama Yifra, Keres Bavon Yiske, Shetuli Beveta Dunai, Bechatzar Tilhani Yafrichu, Oh, Yanuvan, Beseva Shashani Ranim Yu, Lagid Gishardana, Tsarivalo, Vlatabo. Page 81. Mizmor Shir Chanukat Habayit LeDavid. Hafak the misbedil mochali, bitakta sake transin simcha alman yuzem mechachel velo yudom, Adonai Elohai Olam Odeka. Page 82, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich machutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'gala v'izman kari v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'me'ol maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudashah brechu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Page 83, we continue with Pesukei de Zimra. These are passages of songs. Baruch She'amar. Baruch She'amar Haya'olaham. Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Severeshi. Baruch HaMevoseh. Baruch HaZerem Kayem. Baruch HaMerchem HaLa'aretz. Baruch HaMerchem HaL'Briyot. Baruch HaMeshachem Tzchotor L'Ra. Baruch HaElav Kayem Netzach. Baruch HaMyotziel. Baruch Shema. Baruch HaTanan Mecholam. Hayel HaVarachamanu Memiyafo. V'Shibachim Fal B'Shon Chasidav Avidah. Yirei David Yudech. Anelech Adonai L'Hinu B'Shibachon Zmiro. Dagadel Shem Mechlam. Nefnecham. Neskir Shem Chal Mechlam Melcheinu Alhinu. Yachid Chei Holamim. Melch Meshibachim V'Deid Shemo HaGadol. Baruch Atah Adonai. Melech Mehulal Batishbacho. You may be seated. We continue page 96, Ashrei. Ashrei Yosrei Beitecho Jalu Chasela. Ashrei Ha'am Shekachalo. Ashrei Ha'am Shadonai Elohav Tehillah LeDavid. Armim Elohai HaMelech. Baruch Hashem Chalom. Karov and Alakol Karov, the whole Ashir Groove, Emet, Rutson Yosef, Shevatam Yishma Yoshim, Shemer Adonai Kolavav, Kroshayim Yashmihid, Tehilat Adonai Daber Pi, Vivarech Kovasar Shem, Kotshole Lambad, Vanach Nunivarech, Yamet Havead Olam, Hallelujah. Page 100 in the middle of the page. Hallelujah, Bekotsho, Hallel Bekiozo, Hallel Begrutav, Hallel Kurvgudlo, Hallel Beteka Shofar, Hallel Benevel Chinor, Hallel Betek Rov Machol, Hallel Benim Vugav, Hallel Betil Sleshama, Hallel Betil Slechua, Kolon Shamat Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Kolon Shamat Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Baruch Allah, Amen, Amen, Baruch Hanai, Mitzion, Shashel, Hamilah, Baruch Hanai, Hamiser, Vok Bedo, Vrok Shemke Bedol, Alam, Yimlecha, Begotol, Aretz, Amen, V'Amen. We rise, top of 101. V'yivarech David, T'nei kol kahal, v'yomer David. Atahu Adonai him, asher b'chatar mahav steim kastam samta shma Avraham matzatel monafanecha v'chorot imo habrila tetis kanani achiti amuri b'asi v'kesh. V'hayam b'kata lifneihem v'b'duchayim v'pasha erufim shlak miltzlo kamoevim b'mayim azihim v'yosha Adonai b'yom ha'sirah miyam Yisrael v'yosha mitzvah metas vatiyam v'yisrael tegedola asher sarim Yisrael b'yimir Adonai minu b'Adonai Moshe avdaho Az Yashir Moshe v'nei Yisrael Tashir Azo Lemor Shir L'Adonai Ki Yigol Ga'at Sus V'Ruk Rama V'Yam Moses V'Moshe V'Ayil Yeshua. Machon l'shivtecha palta Adonai Migdash Adonai Kanoni Yirecha Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed Ki Lana Hamlucha Moshe B'Galim Lo Moshe B'Har Tzlam Moshe B'Tar Sa V'Hita Lam Nachacha V'Her Dem El Chakol Haaretz V'Yom Yidonai Echad U'Shemo Echad You may be seated. We continue at the top of page 104. Nishma kol chad tivarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Mi Melach, mi Shavelach, mi Yarochla, Hael, Hagadol, Hagibov Hanara, El Yon Koneshimam Vaaret, and Lechan Shbechachan, Vrechan, Verechet Shem Kochecha, Kamor, Ladavi, Brachi, Nafshi, Etanai, Vrachok Ravai, Shem Kocho, Hael, Petatsumot, Uzecha, Hagadol, Birvot, Shemecha, Hagibor, Hanalon, Erzaklan, Harat, Hamelach HaYoshev al Kisei Ram V'Nisaha. We continue in the middle of page 105 with Shochenad as we segue into the Shacharit service.
Shochenad Maharom V'Kadosh Shemoho. בפי השם תתהלל, ודברי צדיקים תתברך, ובשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש.
ובמחלות רביבות עמך בית ישראל.
שכן חובת כל היצורים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, להודות להלל לשבח, לפאר ולממדר, לברך להלל וקלס הכל דברי שירו ותשבחו, דוד בן ישי.
We rise top of 106 as we continue with the Shacharit or the morning service.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו.
ישתבח שמך.
Tell I need him on the beam or not. Go back. ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשיר זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמי.
I'd like to invite up John and Jalal Sarraf along with their Bachora Habat Mitzvah, that Bar Mitzvah girl, Sophia. They're going to present her with her very first talit, her Bat Mitzvah talit. You're going to open it up. Beautiful talit. Nice job. The bracha is right here. Remember, Lihita Teif. So you can see, like Miami Heat. Yeah, you can do this. Come on. They each take an end. All right, and now say the bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu
L'hitativ
v'tzitzit.
Beautiful. And they put it up on you. Oh, fantastic. Like we say in football, it's up and it's good. And the most important part of this talit, which you can wear every time you come to services, and wearing it on the high holidays, of course, is the fringes on each corner. It reminds you of your connection to God, Torah, and the Jewish people. You know, today we put reminders on our iPhone and on alert, but this is, in Judaism, this is what they did. It was like tying a string around your finger. So wear proud, and that was the first of many blessings you'll recite this morning. Good job. I'm now going to ask you to take a seat with my colleague, Cantor Yossi Caravani, and we're going to hear from you in just a moment. We continue in the middle of page 106 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Every time you hear the Chatzi Kaddish, by the way, the half Kaddish, it is a segue. It reminds you that you're about to transition from one portion of the service into the next. So right now, we're about to transition into the official beginning of the morning service. Everything we did up until now was the preliminary part of the service, sort of like the warm-up.
The speech, everything good?
Yeah.
Okay, now relax, everything good. You want to do Chatzi Kaddish now? Okay, now eat and then good.
Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma dibara hirte ve'amlich malchute
Hayechonu v'yomechu v'chayei dechol bet Yisrael. בעגלה, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. השמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמיה יתברך.
Yibarach, V'yishabat, V'yipar, V'yitramam, V'yitnasa, V'yithadar, V'yithala, V'yithala, Shmei Kudushay Bar. Le'olam minka birachta v'rishtaba
tush bechata v'nechemata z'amiram ve'olma
v'imeru amen.
באו בפנינה. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אתה אדוני. ברוך אתה מוכנה מצורר וברכו שחוסה שלום ובורא את הכל.
You may be seated, middle of page 107.
אין כן כך אדוני בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי עולם הבא, אפס בלתך גאון לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך משיענו לתחיית המתים. אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גודלו וטובו מלא עולם, דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו. המתגאה על חיות הקודש, שנדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומשול לפני כיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברם אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת, בבינה ובשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל. מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נאה זיום בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם, ששים בבואם, עושים באמה רצון קונם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו, צהולה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, ראה והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש, לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים. page 109. תתברך משה נשמה מעשה ידיך ובראש עשית יפרוך הסלע. תתברך צורנו מלכנו מגלן בורא קדושים. page 110. ומברכין ומשבחין ומפארים ומגדיסים ומעריצים ומעריצים את שם האל מלך הגדול והגיבור מרור הקדוש הוא. להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה אבינים הקדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אופנים בחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנסים ומצרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לברוכים אותיתנו. אור חדש על ציון תהי ונזכה כולנו מרע לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. עבר הבא הפתענו אדוני אלוהינו. Soon, okay, I'll finish my sentence here. You read here, okay? וקרבתנו שמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות לך ולחתך להבא את שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. page 112, please join us. 1, 2, 3. שמע ישראל, אדוני
אלוהינו אדוני אחד.
ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך לשנותם על הבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובחומך ושרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו טלפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
וים שמוע תשמעו מצותי שאנוכי מצווה אתכם היום. למען ירבו עמכם מבניכם על אדמה שנשבע אדוני על אבותיכם, לתת להם כימי השמיים על הארץ. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר בני ישראל אמרת להם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם מדורותם מנתנו, על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, בלא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו. ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. לדוב אדון כשמו כמה כרסנה כל מלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת ודבריו חיים וכהימים. פודנו מצילם עולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו אתה ומעולם. תהילותינו ברוך ומבורך משה בני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני לא מעולם. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל עובדך נומך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We rise for the Amidah, page 115b.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו לאבותינו לאברהם וליצחק וליעקב ולשרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור וברור העליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ומביא גואל לבני בניהן משהו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה, אתה גיבור עולם אדוני מחי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים מתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחי מצמיח השעה ונאמרת רחת מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי ברום, ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, לעומת צרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. במקומך מכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בקרוב בימינו, בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. לעינינו תיראנה, ועינינו תיראנה מלכותך, כדבר אמור בשירי עוזך על דוד משיח צדקך, ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה, דור ודור יגוד לך ולנצח נצח עם קדושה נקדיש בשבחך אלוהים פי עמו של המועד, כן מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue to daven silently in the Hebrew or the English through page 120, while facing straight ahead at the Aron Kodesh, the Holy Ark, and of course eastward towards Jerusalem.
The next step.
Okay, go sit down. After this.
No.
Oh.
We're going to the Torah.
Here or there?
Here, the Torah here.
If you're still davening the Amidah, please don't interrupt. We continue page 138, Kaddish Shalem.
Yikara v'yikara shmei rabba.
Amen.
Ve'almad zibara kirute ve'amlich mahute.
Bechai
Bechai yechon
yechon
u'yomechon u'fayedecho be'Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman karim. Ve'imeru amen. Hey shmei rabba mevorach. Le'olam u'l'olmei olmaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabah v'yipar v'yiramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shmei dekudeshei baruchu le'olam minka birachta v'yishtabah tushbehata b'nei emata miram v'imeru amen.
תתקבץ לאותון ובאותון תכל ישראל קדם בבון דמשמע ואמרו אמן. יש לומר רבה מן שמע וחיים עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום מלא. Let me sing together. ועל ואמרו אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו. It's not work. יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
We continue on page 139, Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for opening up and taking out and subsequently reading from our Torah scroll, page 139.
I'm gonna be bringing it when you come back. אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן. אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אהבה רחמים היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים תבנה חומות ירושלים כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך הרם ונישא, אדון עולמים. ויבצע אהרון ויאמר משה, קומה אדוני, ויחוסו אויביך, וינוסו מצדיך מפניך, כי בציון ירושלים, ברוך שנתן תורה, ברוך שנתן יבוא ישראל בקדושתו, ברך שמי דמרי עלמא.
We continue with the Aramaic passage from the Zohar, middle of 139 until the 6th line from the top of page 140.
באנרחץ ולשמי קדישה, קדישה יקירה, אנא אמר תושבחן. באנרחץ, באנרחץ, ולשמי קדישה, קדישה יקירה, אנא אמר תושבחן. יהרבה קודמה ותפתח ליבי באורייתא, ותשלי משאלי לליבי וליבו וכל עמוך ישראל, לתעבור חיים ולשלם. אמן.
The Torah is taken from the Ark by our Baba June this morning, and it is passed from generation to generation, Lador Vador, from the Baba and Mama June to the parents, and finally to Sophia herself.
לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול, כי אל מלך גדול, וקדוש אתה. כי אל מלך גדול, כי אל מלך גדול, וקדוש אתה. Stand like this. Okay. Please come closer to us. Sarraf, come close.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gedol Eloheinu, Kadosh Shema.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu. We turn around, please everyone, turn around when we bow to the ark. Gadlul Adonai iti, Oneromema Shemo Yachda. Follow me, please. Hold it. You good? Adonai. Follow me, please. תורה, תורה, תורה ציווה לנו משה. סידנתי. מורשה קהילת יעקב. קהילת יעקב. מורשה קהילת יעקב. תורה ציווה לנו משה. Who is the Joseph? Who? Orasha kehilat Yaakov, Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Are we have any Kohen on this room, please?
Someone's coming up. You may be seated. The Torah reading for this Shabbat morning is Parshat Tzav. Oh no. Shh. You may be seated. If you want to take your red Eitz Chaim Chumashim, your large red books, they can also be found when you first enter by the door. The Torah reading for this Shabbat morning is Parshat Tzav. It's the second parsha of the biblical book of Leviticus, page 621. Page 621, chapter 8, verse 1. 621, chapter 8, verse 1, in the middle of the page. It details the sacrifices that were offered in biblical times as the Israelites were traveling in the sanctuary, and the special types of sacrifices and the way they would be arranged. Again, page 621, chapter 8, verse 1 in the Hebrew or the English.
הכהן, לא? הכהן, הכהן.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach L'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן. ודבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, קח את אהרון ואת בניו איתו ואת הבגדים ואת שמן המשחה ואת פרח חטאת ואת שני האלים ואת סל המצות ואת כל העדה הקהל אל פתח אוהל מועד. ויעש משה כאשר ציווה אדוני אותו, ותקהל העדה אל פתח אוהל מועד. ויאמר משה אל העדה, זה הדבר אשר ציווה אדוני לעשות.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torato emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Do we have a Levi or Bat Levi in the house? A Levi or Bat Levi? All right, if that's the case, then Dr. Tabibim, Dr. Barzadeh, this, because he's a Kohen, he's also the tribe of Levi. The Eli is so nice, he'll do it twice, and since now that we know he is a Kohen, Dr. Barzadeh will have to be here every
All the
Shabbat.
seven. This is a surprise for us.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch, I'm sorry. Baruch Adonai HaMavorach L'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אתה.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן. ויקרב משה את אהרון ואת בניו וירחץ אותם במים וייתן עליו את הכותונות ויחגור אותו באבנת וילבש אותו את המעיל וייתן עליו את האפוד ויחגור אותו בחשב האפוד ויעפוד לו בו וישם את עליו את החושן, ויתן על את החושן את האורים ואת התומים. וישם את המצנפת על ראשו, וישם על המצנפת אל מול פניו, אל ציץ הזהב נזר הקודש כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורתו אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
No problem. Give him the Hebrew name, please.
David Ben
You can stay, you can leave, whatever.
Hayim. David Ben Hayim.
How did you know that I need you can't special it? Take your corner of your tallit, this one. Take your corner. Yes, touch and kiss here. Here, touch and kiss. Okay, now say the blessing, the first line, please. First line, Baruch.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Amborach Leolam. Here now. Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bacharbanu Mikol Hakamim Venatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
You scare me, huh? So you want me to read everything in
Verse 10, page 622.
אמן. ויקח משה את שמן המשחה וימשך את המשכן ואת כל אשר בו ויקדש אותם ויז ממנו על המזבח 7 פעמים. וימשך את המזבח ואת כל כליו ואת הכיור ואת קנו לקדשם ויצוג משמן המשחה ראש אהרון וימשך אותו לקדשו. ויקרב משה את בני אהרון וילבישם כותונות ויחקור אותם באבנת ויחבוש להם מקבעות כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה. Again, if you tell it. Tell it, please.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chaye Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
The journey continues, page 622, verse 14, in the Hebrew and the English at the bottom of the page.
Thank you very much.
Yamot.
Chaim Yitzhak ben Ephraim.
Hayim v'skar Ben Ephraim.
Meister ויגש. ויגש בכבוד.
Baruch hu es Adonai Hamborach.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Olam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Banu Mikol Amim V'nasan Lanu Es Torah. Baruch Ata Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen.
I think I need to go to the second part. The part with all the Sarraf, Pirshon. Amen. אמן. ויגש את פר החטאת, ויסמוך אהרון ובניו את ידיהם הראש הפר החטאת, וישחט ויקח משה את הדם, וייתן על קרנות המזבח סביב באצבעו, ויחטא את המזבח, ואת הדם יצא כלסות המזבח, ויקדשהו לכפר עליו, ויקח את כל את החלב אשר על הקרב, ואת יותר את הכבד, ואת שתי הכליות, ואת חלביהן, ויקטר משה המזבחה, ואת הפר ואת אורו, ואת בשרו, ואת פרשו, שרף באש מחוץ למחנה, כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Nasan Lanu Toras Emes V'chaye Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen. Yishar kochacha.
Now we can go down.
The fifth Aliyah continues, page 605, verse 18.
Yamot Chamishi בכבוד.
הרצל, חמישי, הרצל, where are you?
Lucky number, verse 18.
Your Hebrew name. Shachar ben, your father? Moshe. Shachar ben Moshe. Hamishi bechavod.
I don't know how to read.
No, you don't have to read. Just get the corner of your talit. I help you everything, don't worry.
Okay, very good.
And touch in kiss here. Touch with your talit.
Okay.
Talit, touch. And kiss. Kiss now. Now the first line here.
Baruch Atzit Adonai Harimesh Kuach. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Kuach Leozot Ve'adet. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bracha Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'nata Lanu Et Torah. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten Torah.
Amen.
Torah here. אמן ויקרב את אל העולה וישמחו אהרון ובניו את ידיהם על ראש העיל וישחט ויזרוק משה את הדם על המזבח סביב ואת העיל ניתח נתחיו ויקטר משה את הראש ואת הנתחים ואת הפדר ואת הקרב ואת הקרעים רחץ במים ויקטר משה את כל העיל המזבחה עולה הוא לריח ניחוח, אישהו לאדוני כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה. Touching kiss your talit again here. Yes, and then say now. ברוך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתנו לנו תורה אמת וחיים עולם מעתה בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Good job.
Amen.
Now you stay there. You stay one more person. You stay here. Okay.
יעמוד. Jason Ben.
He's number 6.
Yeah.
Two more? 1 second. He's number 6.
You got 3 more to go.
So 7, 8, 9, and then the pedal?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. Okay.
So I cut this aliyah. I'm going to be cut this aliyah. You have 3 of the foot.
We continue page 623, verse 20.
ויקרב, touch and kiss here, the Torah. Talit, yes. Say the blessing. First line, please. Baruch. Yes. Baruch.
Baruch et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Olam Vaed. Baruch Adonai Borach. Yes. Baruch.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Baruch Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Hold the Torah here. Doing great. Amen. ויקרב את בני, I'm sorry, ויקרב את העיל. אמן. ויקרב את העיל השני אל המילואים, וישמחו אהרון ובניו את ידיהם על ראש העיל, וישחט, ויקח משה מדמה, וייתן על תנוך אוזן אהרון הימנית, ועל בוין ידו הימנית, ועל בוין רגלו הימנית, ויקרב את בני אהרון, ויתן משה מן הדם על תנוך אוזנם הימנית, ועל בוהן ידם הימנית, ועל בוהן רגליו הימנית, ויזרוק משה את הדם על המזבח סביב.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Natan B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. The turning continues page 624, verse 25.
Hosafa. One person. Give it to him the Hebrew name.
Netanel Geula.
נתן
Netanel.
Ben your father?
David.
Ben David.
I think so.
Take the corner of your talit. Touch him, kiss you. Say the first line, please.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Olam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natat lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Hold the Torah here. Good job. You know to read Hebrew. That's good. אמן, ויקח את החלב ואת העילה ואת כל החלב אשר על הקרב ואת יותרת הכבד ואת שתי הכליות ואת חלביהן ואת שוק הימין ומסל המצות אשר לפני אדוני לקח חלת מצה אחת וחלת לחם שמן אחת ורקיק אחד וישם על החלבים ועל שוק הימין ויתן את הכל על כפי אהרון ועל כפי בניו וינף אתם תרופה לפני אדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Who is it from? Don't give it to him the check to hurt him. Don't worry. I didn't finish my coffee. You stay here. Coming up. Shabbat shalom. Moshe Ben Eliyahu. I'm going to take one more sentence for the other one. Okay, ויתן את הכל. one second. ויקח משה שלח זרח, ויקח משה, אוקיי, קומן here. בכבוד פה, ברכו.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai
אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. ויקח משה אותם מעל כפיהם ויקטר המזבח על העולם מילואים הם ריח ניחוח אישהו לאדוני. ויקח משה את החזה ויניפה תנופה לפני אדוני מאל המילואים. משה היה למנה כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה. ויקח משה משמן המשחה ומן הדם אשר על המזבח ויז על אהרון ועל בגדיו ועל בניו ועל בגדי בניו איתו ויקדש את אהרון ואת בגדי בניו את בגדיו ואת בניו ואת בגדי בניו איתו. ויאמר משה אל אהרון ובניו בשלו את הבשר פתח אוהל מועד ושם תאכלו אותו ואת הלחם אשר בסל המילואים כאשר צוויתי. Yes or no? כאשר צוויתי לאמור אהרון ובניו יאכלו והנותר בבשר ובלחם באש תשרפו ומפתח אוהל מועד לא תצאו 7 ימים עד יום מלאות ימי מילואיכם כי 7 ימים ימלא את ידיכם כאשר עשה ביום הזה ציווה אדוני לעשות לכפר עליכם ופתח אוהל מועד תשבו יומם ולילה 7 ימים ושמרתם את משמרת אדוני ולא תמותו כי כן צוויתי. ויעש אהרון ובניו את כל הדברים כאשר ציווה אדוני ביד משה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now the parents, not 7th aliyah. 7th aliyah. Yamdu.
Isaac, John, Isaac,
John,
Sarraf,
Sarraf, and
Gerald, Sarraf.
No.
The turning continues, page 624, chapter 8, verse 30, and this final aliyah is taken by the Bechor Bar Mitzvah, Bat Mitzvah, the Bat Mitzvah parents, John and Geralda Sarraf.
משחת את העולה כאשר זה שביעי, ויקח משה משמן המשחה. ויקח משה משמן המשחה. Take your corner if Italit. No, I'm going to other place. Okay. Yes, ויקח משה here there. Touch and kiss here. What am I gonna do? I make mistake. You are human being. What I can do? I cannot do nothing. Baruch Hu, go.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'asher banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Hold the Torah here. אמן. ויקח משה משמן המשחה ומן הדם אשר על המזבח ויעז על אהרון ועל בגדיו ועל בניו ועל בגדי בניו איתו ויקדש את אהרון ואת בגדיו ואת בניו ואת בגדי בניו איתו ויאמר משה אל אהרון ואל בניו בשלו את הבשר פתח אוהל מועד ושם תאכלו אותו ואת הלחם אשר בסל המילואים כאשר ציוויתי לאמור אהרון ובניו יאכלוהו והנותר בבשר ובלחם באש תשרופו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי העולם נטע פותחנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Please rise.
Stay here. You stay here. Coming up to me. Second. Uno momentos. Yes, I'm looking for that. Second. No.
Yikadal v'yikadash shmei rabba.
Amen.
Be'amadi barak yirutei ve'amlich mahutei.
V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedechon bet Yisrael.
Ba'agala uvizman karim. Ve'imeru amen. Hey shmei rabba mevorach. Le'olam l'amei amaya yibarach. Yitbarach v'yishtaba v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shmei l'kudashei baruchu le'olam minkal birachta v'ritaba tushbehata v'ne'emata tamiram be'olma v'imeru amen.
I'm going to recite Misha Berach, a prayer of well-being for all those in our community who are sick or ailing. If you have the name of someone who can come forward, you could whisper the name to me in the Hebrew or the English or the Yiddish or the Farsi. Doesn't matter if the person is Jewish or not, but in that way we'll pray for their speedy and their hopeful recovery. Misha Berach, Amtein Raham Yisach, Yaakov Sagrach, Velayahu, Berach, Mepet, Gilatenu, at Aharon, Ariel ben Miriam. Elazar ben Rachel. Gila ben Heshma.
Okay.
Reading it from this.
Yes, read it from
Mama
Wait, but you have to wait for me.
Shade about Uziah. That's a Ashkenazi name. Ashkenazi.
Elisheva bat Neta.
Elisheva bat Neta. Nosrat Mandozami. Gila Sabo. Ha'ima shel Ozzy Fisher. Anybody else? Bekolam Kila Hagadosh Kosh Baruch Hu Le'Yarachim Imali. Hamas Gam Tam Shul Kushim Shema Refuta Nefesh Kushim Shul Afshar Shel Shabbat Zerk Gro Parabo LaHashalo Hashem Agalam Zman Karib and Omar. Amen. The cantor is also going to say now a Misha Berach, a prayer of well-being for the brave men and women serving in our behalf in the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, and the armed forces of the United States of America who help protect us, our values, our way of life, both here and abroad. And also when he says this blessing in the Hebrew, maybe keep in the back of your mind a prayer for the people of the Ukraine. We're now entering into a month of this war that was waged against them. And we hope and pray that somehow there is a solution and peace is at hand, and more innocent lives are not lost.
Repeat after me for each word, please. Mishebera Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Uyevarech et Chayalei Tzva Hagana leYisrael Mishebera Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Uyevarech et Chayalei Tzva Hagana leYisrael העומדים על שמרתנו ועל אלוהינו מגמול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים מן הים הגדול לבוא הרבה ביבשה באוויר ובים ייתן אדוני אלוהינו את אויבינו הקמים לפניהם הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה מכל נגע ומחלה וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם וידבר שונאינו תחתיהם ויעטרם בכתר ישועה ועטרת ניצחון ויקראם בהם הכתוב כי אדוני אלוהיכם הולך עמכם ויושיע אתכם ונאמר אמן משברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ויברך את חיילי צבא הגנה לישראל ונאמר אמן.
You may be seated, and the final aliyah, the Maftira aliyah, is going to be taken by our Bechor HaBat Mitzvah, our Bat Mitzvah girl, Sophia Sarraf.
Esther, Azar, Leah. תמות כלת הבת מצווה, לאה בת עזר, ואסתר מפטיר בכבוד.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Come in here, come in here, come in here.
Where? Umi petach ohel moed lo tetzu shiva yamim yod ad yom melot yemei ume ki shiva yamim yamale et yechem ka'asher asa beyom hazeh tiva Adonai yaso lahaper alechem ufateh ochel moed Teshvu Yomam Velela Shiva Yamim Ushmaratem et Mishmarot Adonai Velo Tamutu Ki Hain Sivati Vayas Aaron Uvanav et Kol Havarim Asher Tziva Adonai Beyom Moshe.
Good job. Baruch atah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et Torah emet v'hayei olam notav betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Wait, come here. I want to bless her. It's my pleasure on this occasion of her publicly becoming a bat mitzvah in front of friends and family to say a bracha, blessing over her in both the Hebrew and the English. V'yishaberach v'ati Abraham Yitzchak Kok Sarraf v'karech v'leah hu yivorech et Leah bat Eza v'Esther shegiel mitzvot v'alta livot hamakom livot haTorah livot haShabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu mishrei v'chayeha v'yichleinon et liba liot shlema im Adonai Eloheha v'go b'Torah lecha b'yichon v'shmor mitzvotav v'shlach bracha v'tzachal b'chol masei yadeha v'yichon zkur hareha l'gadla L'Torah u'chupa u'masim tovim v'timsachen v'sechoto b'nei Elohim v'adam v'nomar amen. Smile. May God, who has blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Sophia Sarraf, who has been called to the Torah upon reaching the age of Mitzvot with reverence for God, the Torah, and Shabbat. May the Holy One protect and sustain her, helping her to be wholehearted of faith, to study Torah, and fulfill Mitzvot, and to walk in God's ways. May her parents rear her to maturity, guiding her to a love of Torah, of Jewish learning, to the chuppah. Do you know what that is? The marriage canopy. But we've got Isabella's bat mitzvah first to worry about. And to a life of good deeds. May Sophia find favor before God and all the community, and let us all say, Amen. Kale! Not yet. Not yet. No. Okay. Shh. No.
After we finish Haftarah.
Yes. The candy is only thrown after we finish the Haftarah. A kale, you could do anytime. A kale, you could do anytime.
No!
Please rise as the Sefer Torah is lifted and tied.
What's your Hebrew name, please?
Moshe ben Yaakov.
That's a nice one. Vizos HaTorah Asher Sa Moshe Lifnei B'nei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai B'yad Moshe. Kale! He's the one who's carrying the Torah. All you do is carry a baby for 9 months.
This is you put on the table.
The Haftarah for this Shabbat morning, which is the selection from the prophetic readings, can be found in your large red books, the Eitz Chaim Chumashim, page 626.
Come. 1 second. Let me put this here. One second. Put your binder here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nevi'im tovim v'ratzon v'divrayhem ha'ne'evarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai haboher betorah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nevi'eh ha'emet v'tzedek. Ko amar Adonai Tzavaot Elohei Yisrael Elotehem Sifuot Zivehem Veichlu Vasar Ki lo dibarti et avotechem Velo tzivitim beyom Hotzi otam me eretz Mitzrayim Al divrei olav vatzet vach Ki imet hadavar hazeh Tziviti otam lemor shimu V'koli v'hayiti lachem le'lohim v'yatem tuli liyam v'halachtem v'chol haderech asher atzaveh etchem lima'an yitav lachem v'lo shama'u v'lo hitu et oznam v'yelechu bimo etzot b'shirut libam hara v'yu liachor v'lo lefanim Umin hayom asher yatzeu avotechem me'eretz Mitzrayim ad hayom hazeh vayishlach aleichem et kol avadai hanevaim yom hashkem v'shaloach velo shameu elai velo hitu et oznam vayakshu et arpam hereu me'avotam v'dibarta aleichem et kol hadvarim ha'ele velo yishmeu eilecha vikarata aleihem velo yanucha vimarta aleichem zehagoy asher velo shameu vikoli Adonai Elohav velo lakhu musar avda ha'amina v'nichrata mipihem Gazi nizrei v'hashlihi usi al shefaim ki na ki mi'as Adonai vayitosh et dor evrato ki asu v'nei Yehuda hara beinai niyum Adonai simu shikutechem bebai asher nikra shem'u alav letama'o uvanu Bimo hatofet asher begay ben hinom lisrof et benechem ve'et benotechem ba'ish asher lo tziviti velo olota alibi lachein hine yamim ba'im niyum Adonai velo yeamer od hatofet vegay ben hinom ki im gay haheregel vikavru v'tofet me'en Mikom v'hayita ivat hayom hazel limiachal liof hashmaim umihavet haaretz ve'en maharid v'hishbati me'erei Yehuda umehotzo Yerushalayim kol sason v'kol simha kol hatan v'kol kala ki liherbati hieh haaretz ba'e hahi niyum Adonai Hotziu et atzmot malchei Yehuda ve'et atzmot Sarraf ve'et atzmot hakohanim ve'et atzmot hane'evaim ve'et atzmot Yoshevei Yerushalim mikivrehem ushatzachum leshamesh v'layareach ulho Ziva Hashamim Asher Echevum Ve'asher Avadum Ve'asher Chalhu Eherim Ve'asher Darashum Ve'asher Hishahavu Lachem Lo Yasifu Ve'lo Yikiveru Ledomen Al Panei Ha'adama Yiyu Vinivar Mavet Mehevim Lechol Hesheri hanisharim min hamishpaha ha'ara hazot bacho hamikamot hanisharim asher hidachtim shamnim Adonai tziva'o ko amar Adonai al yihalel hacham bichamato ve'al yihalel hagobor bigavroto al yihalel ashir biashro ki im baza'o yihalel hamihalel haskel yado oti ki ani Adonai oseh hesed mishpat utzdaka ba'aretz ki v'ele hafatzti niyum Adonai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam sur kol ha'olamim sadich bechol adarot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'yoseh ha'medaber umkeim shekal divarav emet v'tzedek ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim divarecha v'davar echad midivarecha echor lo yashuv rekam kiel melech ne'eman v'rahaman atah baruch atah Adonai Ha'el ha'ne'aman b'chol divarav. Rahim al Tzion ki hu beit ha'enu v'la aluvat nifesh tushiyah b'mihevra b'yamenu baruch atah Adonai. Misamei Tzion b'vanecha. Samachenu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi avdecha uv'malehu beit David mishihecha B'mihevra Ya'avel v'yagel lebenu al kieseo lo yashev zar, velo yinhalu od ehirim et kivodo, ki vishem kochiha nishbata lo, shilo yichbach nero li'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai. Migain David. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevaim ve'al ha'shabbat hazeh shinatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnuta lichabor ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu madom lach umivarchim ota yibarach shimach bafikal hey Tomid li'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mikodesh haShabbat.
Amen. Now it's time to throw the stay here. Throw the candy gently, please. You don't need to throw the candy now. Let me sing together. Siman tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Siman tov, Siman. Yes. Mazel tov, Siman tov, Siman tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Siman tov. Yelanu, oh lechol Israel. Yelanu. Oh lechol Israel, David melech Israel, chai vekayam. I cannot hear you. David, chai vekayam. Ay, ay, ay. Siman tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Siman tov, Mazel tov, Siman tov, Mazel tov. Yelanu, oh lechol Israel. Yelanu, oh lechol Israel. David melech Israel, chai vekayam. David melech. When is your birthday? Since her birthday was February 2nd, I would like to give it to her a special song. Tabalo, tabalo, tabalola meborak, 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 tabalo, tabalo, tabalo. Go to the rabbi, do not give his speech.
Shabbat Shalom.
Better?
Thank you all for being here today. My Parashah Torah portion is Sarraf. Sarraf is the second book in Leviticus. Sarraf talks about how back in the day, our ancestors would sacrifice things like animals, grain, and oil to God as an offering instead of saying prayers, because it was symbolic of giving something valuable up, and that is how they thought to show respect for God. I said to Rabbi Stanger when we started talking about my sermon, how am I supposed to relate this to my life? Because we don't sacrifice animals or offer anything up on an altar. Today we may not do those things, but we show respect for God by praying and coming to Hebrew school. I sacrifice a lot of time in my life. When it came time to prepare for my bat mitzvah, I couldn't spend a lot of time doing what I wanted to do, like hanging out with my friends or going on my phone a lot, because most of my free time went to doing stuff for my bat mitzvah. There are also a lot of activities I do that keep me busy from doing things I want to do sometimes. I have school, sports every day, and then I have soccer practices and other sports like tennis, and I like to stay active. I also have travel basketball too. It all takes time and commitment, and I have to put 100% effort into all of those things because I enjoy playing them. And so I give up some time doing what I want to do to go and practice those things. I also sacrifice time to study for tests and classes I don't really like so I can get good grades. Sav means commandment. Some commandments that I have now that I'm a bat mitzvah is I have to be respectful to others, give tzedakah to those less fortunate than me, and I have to fast on Yom Kippur, and I have to light candles on Shabbat and Hanukkah, as well as refrain from eating any bread or even bread products on Pesach. I have a lot of people to thank for helping me get here. Thank you to Maura and Mindy for welcoming me to Hebrew school. Thank you to the cantor for helping me learn my Torah and half Torah. Thank you to all my friends for always being there for me. Thank you to my sister for always playing with me or watching movies with me. Thank you to my brother for taking me places. Thank you to my grandma and grandpa for always letting me come over and giving me money or buying stuff for me. Thank you to my mom for driving me everywhere and taking me to wherever I want to go and always being so nice. And thank you to my dad for always being there for me and watching or playing sports with me. And last but not least, thank you to the Old Westbury Hebrew congregation. I've been coming here since nursery school and it's been an amazing experience. I'm honored to become a bat mitzvah in front of you all this Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Don't go anywhere. Don't rest for the weary. First of all, I want to say that it was a pleasure having worked with you, but also just knowing you since you were a child, and even pre-COVID. I remember how you and your sister Isabella and Emma Slonim, who I think is in the audience there, right, would come to my office before Hebrew school and we'd do extra work on the Aleph Bet and Hebrew words and reading and so forth, and just what a pleasure it is to work with you, and your parents in particular, how supportive they've been of me. I know the cantor as well, and of this community, and what a true honor it is to have you here. And I only hope we have the opportunity to continue to learn together as we watch you grow up and to mature into a beautiful young Jewish woman. And I'd like to ask you to bow your head slightly. The cantor and I are going to recite upon you the Birkat Kohanim. Is the cantor left the room? We're going to recite upon you the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly benedictions, in the Hebrew and the English. Chad, is he there? No? Okay. Let me do it. Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the Lord God shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord God gaze upon you always and extend to you and your family a lifetime of health, happiness, and most of all, what we need in this world today, peace. And now we have some gifts that we'd like to bestow upon you on behalf of our community, and we have someone who's a member of our Board of Trustees and who's also a member of the Executive Committee. I know he knows your family very well, Herzl Moazinia.
Shabbat Shalom. You did a wonderful job reading. You're way back since we were a little bit older than you. We grew up together in this town. We just know each other. Became related somehow or another. And I've seen you grow from being a little toddler. Nice, beautiful young lady. You did an amazing job today. We have some gifts for you from the Board of Trustees. We have some gifts for you from the Board of Trustees. Oh, most important one. This is a certificate for your bat mitzvah. What's the JCC, the rabbi?
She gets free membership for first.
Yes. You get a free membership with JCC for the first year. Soon you're going to be off to college. And one of the things that we have means anytime you need to reach out, think about something, and you don't know the answer, take 5 minutes, read this. It's in English also, so you can understand it, and it will be helpful. And as of a Jew that we always are giving people. We have a little tzedakah box for you. Always remember to give. Giving is always good. I'd like to say Mazel Tov to you and your family for this wonderful occasion and wonderful day. And on top of it, we have what is a very good thing, is the Persian New Year that follows. You are a spring baby, apparently. So, happy spring.
Thank you.
Mazel Tov.
I almost forgot, this is from me, okay? See, this is your favorite color, pink. That's what your mom told me, at least your favorite color was pink. There's 2 of them, right? You recognize these? You dodged them so proficiently. We're going to put them in the box here. Take them home with you. It's going to sound crazy, but put them in the freezer. Yes, I know, right? Eventually, you're going to meet someone very, very special, a special someone. A week before your wedding, let them thaw out. And on your wedding night, you and your special someone, you each eat one of them. Don't make that face, right? No, there's a method to my madness, all right? The idea being you're going from simcha to simcha, from one joyous occasion to the next, right? There's going to be a lot of milestones in your life ahead. You're going to graduate middle school, you're going to graduate high school, you're going to graduate college, but the next major Jewish simcha that you'll probably embark upon or engage in will be your wedding night, so your wedding day. So keep that with you. And now I'm going to ask you to walk over to your parents, right there, okay? You play all these sports, that should be easy. So walk over to mom and dad, right? Yeah? And I'm going to ask the Baba June and the Mama June to rise as well. And where's Isabella? Where'd she go? She's running around somewhere? Okay. So we're going to say a very special blessing together. This is the Shehecheyanu blessing. It's a blessing over Thanksgiving. We're going to say it, we say it on Pesach as well at the Seder meal. We say it at all special occasions. And it goes like this, if you could repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehecheyanu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh. Praise are you, Lord our God, sovereign of the universe, who has kept us and sustained us and caused us to arrive at this most auspicious occasion. To many more Shehecheyanu moments together in your future. And I also want to thank someone special. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out one of your teachers, Rivka Alon. Mora Alon is here. So she's great. We love her. She's been teaching for years in the Hebrew school and even the nursery school at one point. She's a true asset. The clergy loves her. I think, Stephanie, your kids probably had her, right? She's great. We love Rivka. So very happy to have her here this morning. We're going to continue now, as I always like to say. We don't have Farsi, but we do have some Aramaic, which predates Farsi. Page 148, Yukum Porkan.
Kumpuka min shemaya, china v'chizde v'rachamin v'chayin ariche. מרנתי בישמעאל בעשת חון קודמני דוד נאמר אמן מי שברך אבותינו אברהם ויעקב שרה רבקה ולכב לאה הוא יברך את כל הקהל הקדוש הזה עם כל קהילות הקודש הם ובניהם ובנותיהם וכל אשר להם מי שמייחדים בתי כנסיות לתפילה ומי שבאים בתוכם להתפלל ומי שנותנים נר למאור ויעני קידוש להבדלה ופת לאורחים וצדקה לעניים וכל מי שעוסקים בצרכי ציבור ובבניין ישראל באמונה הקדוש ברוך הוא ישלם שכרם ויסיר מהם כל מחלה וירפא לכל גופם ויסלח לכל עוונם וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם עם כל ישראל ישראל אחיהם ונאמר אמן עם כל ישראל ישראל אחיהם ונאמר אמן.
We rise as we're led in the English, a prayer for our country, bottom of page 148 by one of our own congregants, Sam Perlman. All three in English.
Yes,
You
of
handle
course.
it?
I got it.
All right.
Our God, hello? Yep. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights from your Torah, that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all inhabitants of our country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony, to banish hatred and bigotry, and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country. May this land under your providence be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen.
And a prayer for the modern state of Israel in the English, top of page 149.
Avinu Shebashamayim, rock and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption, shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace, guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth, help them with your good counsel, strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land, deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph, bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy, and let us say, Amen.
Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael vegoalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael vegoalo. Barech, barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat geulatenu, Hagen alea be'evrat chasdecha, Ufros alea sukat shlomecha. Avinu,
Avinu.
Have you ever wanted to do that? Sure. Go to escort. I'm going to be finished the song. Coming. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael vegoalo, Ushlach orcha, Vamitcha lerashea, Sarraf, beyoatzea, beyoatzeha, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך. אבינו, אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו. אבינו, אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו. חזק את ידי מגני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה, ועטרת ניצחון תיאטריהם. ונתת שלום בארץ, ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ונאמר Amen.
You may be seated. We're led responsively by some of our recent mitzvah, Lily and Ari Kruger, and some of our pre-bar mitzvah with Gavin Carroll, and of course our before bat mitzvah this morning, Sophia Sarraf.
Ashrei yoshvei vetecha, od yehallelu chasela.
Ashreim shekacha lo, Ashreim shanai Elohim.
Techila leDavid, aromimcha Elohai hamelech, v'avracha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Bechol yom ha'barcheka, v'lal simcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai umchala me'od, ve'ligdula Tfilato in Heker. Hadar Kevod Hodecha, V'divre Niflatecha Asecha. Zecher Tuvcha Yobiu, V'sid Kadcha Yiranenu. Tov Adonai Lakol, Verachamav Al Kol Ma'asav.
Yaduchanai Kol Masecha, V'chasidecha Yivarchucha.
Ve'od Malchutcha Yomeru, Ugvuratecha Yidaberu.
Lo Dielivnei Adam Gibarotav, Ugvod Adar Malchuto.
Malchutcha Malchut Kol Amim, Umemshaltecha Bechol Dor Vador.
Samech Adonai L'chol Hanoflim, Zokef L'chol HaKrufim.
Einecho Elohai Yasaberu, Ve'ata Nochin Lachem Et Olam Be'ito. Sadik Adonai Bechol Derachav, Ve'chasid Kachol Ma'asav.
Karov Adonai L'chol Karab, L'chol Asher Krov Emet.
Ritzon Yerav Ya'aseh, Ve'esh Shavatam Bishma Ve'yishiem.
Shomer Adonai Kol Avav, V'erkol Shem Yashmid.
Tehilat Adonai Yidaber Pi, Vivrecho Basar Shem Ketchel Le'olam Va'ed.
V'anachnu nevarech Yam Etavad Olam. Hallelujah.
Good job.
We rise as the Sefer Torah is returned to the Ark.
Go back to your seat. You go back to your seat. You come with me now.
When are you leaning?
You come with me.
Hold it up, yes. On your shoulder.
וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו שתהיה בשלום. ובנוך יאמר שוב אדוני לבותם מסייק ומלמותיך כמון עוזיך וכהנך בעצם אדוננו. בעבור דוד עבדך תשב פני משיחך, כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי תעזובו, עץ חיים היא. למה חזיקים בה בתוכיה דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו Chadesh Yameinu Keke. Go back to your seat. Rabbi, finish. You come to my beam, okay? Ash, Chatzi Kaddish, and the door Vador.
You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom. So one of the things I've enjoyed doing most in the past few weeks is a class I'm teaching over Zoom about Musar. Musar is rabbinic ethical literature that dates back to the 19th century about behavior and about our flaws and recognizing human characteristics and shortcomings. And one of the things that was pointed out is the term Jew derives from Yehudi or Yehuda, right? Yehuda was the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. And the term itself actually means to acknowledge, to give thanks, to show gratitude. And I pointed out to the class that the term Jew was actually originally just for one particular tribe. Remember, there were 12 tribes, just like there were 12 sons of Jacob. There were different tribes of the Israelite community, right? Our origins were actually being Hebrews and not Jews. Jews is a term that came about during the Roman conquest when they referred to us as Judeans, right? There was no W in Roman or Aramaic or Hebrew literature. Eventually that became an anglicized form of referring to a Judean, a Jew. And I said today the truth is most of us, though, can recognize we're descended from this tribe of Judah, Yehudah. There are exceptions, however. I mean, we just read in the Megillah about Mordechai living in Shushan in Persia, and he was described as being of the tribe of Benjamin. Most of the other tribes, of course, died out, right, during the expulsion. We don't know what happened to them. One of the exceptions, in addition to the tribe of Judah, which most of us are descended from, is the Levim, or the Levites, right? Today, if you're a Levi, that means you're descended from the Levites, which was the tribe of Moses and Aaron, which we read a great deal about in this week's Parsha. Oftentimes people who have the last name of Levin or Levine or Levi are descendants of the Levites. It doesn't matter if you're Ashkenazi or Sephardi or Persian, American, Israeli, you could be descended from the tribe of Levi. Now, there's another category within the tribe of Levi known as the Kohanim, or the priests. Aaron, Moses' older brother, and his 4 sons, and eventually Aaron's grandsons, would be not just Levites, but Kohanim, or priests. And again, people who often have the last name Cohen or Koenig or Katz or some derivation of that are usually descended from this priesthood. There are exceptions. I mean, you could have a different last name and be a Kohen, or you could have the last name Kohen and not be descended from the Kohanim, meaning your name was changed at one point. But you could be Ashkenazi, Sephardi. It doesn't matter what your ancestry is, but if you're a Kohen, you can trace your lineage all the way back to Aaron and his sons, which is pretty amazing when you think about that, right? Being an Israelite, a regular old Israelite, all I know is I could trace my lineage at some point back to the tribe of Israel, but I don't know from which tribe necessarily I descended from or who my ancient ancestors were. But if you're a Levi, or if you're a Kohen, you know pretty much you could trace yourself back to Aaron or to Moses himself. And this week's Parsha, again, talks about the special sacrifices that would be offered when they were traveling and they had their sanctuary, the first communal worship structure in Jewish history. And it was collapsible, it was portable, it was easily transportable. And what's interesting is it talks about the ceremony for inaugurating the priesthood and anointing the priests themselves, which were Aaron and his sons. Now, here's my question. If I asked who was the first high priest in Israelite history, what might the answer be? We would think it would be obvious at first. Who was the first high priest in Israelite history? Aaron, right? Someone said Aaron, right? Was that Sam? Yes. Not necessarily wrong, right? I mean, that's what we're always told, right? Aaron was the first high priest, and then, of course, his son Eleazar would become the second high priest. But here's the thing. You can actually make an argument, and I heard someone make this argument once when I was studying in seminary, that really the first high priest in Jewish history was not Aaron, but his brother Moses. Moses, who wasn't even a priest, he was of the tribe of Levi, but he wasn't a priest. Why could Moses be the first high priest in history? Because he anointed all the other priests originally, right? If you read this week's Parsha, he set the service in motion, right? He was the one who dipped his thumb in blood and then smeared it on the inner ridge of the ear of Aaron and his sons, starting the whole process, right? Moving it forward. So the very fact that he anointed Aaron as the high priest and his sons as priests to serve under him, maybe he was the first high priest in history. Because that's what a high priest did, right? A high priest officiated services. A high priest consecrated people. A high priest was the one who decided who the Mashiach would be. The Mashiach in biblical times wasn't just the Messiah as we think of it today, but it was much more political. The Mashiach was the anointed one. The Mashiach was the one who would be king. That's what the term actually meant. To have olive oil dipped on your forehead by the high priest. A very important function. And I mention all this by way of saying that a lot of what we read about in the Torah, as far as the priesthood, as far as the Levites, as far as the cultic practice, as far as the sacrifices, as far as the slaughter of the animals for sacrifices, as far as the dipping of the blood, as far as the reach nichoach, the pleasing odor, right? When the sacrifices went up in smoke on the altar, kind of like a biblical barbecue. The incense, we don't have any of that today. It's been lost, right? We no longer practice it because we no longer have a sanctuary. And even though we have Jerusalem, we have our political and religious capital, we no longer have a temple in Jerusalem. So we're no longer a cultic ritual practice like we were at the time of the Torah. We do things somewhat differently. Judaism was originally probably meant to be a practice that incited our different senses. I mean, think about that for a moment. If we read it today, it might seem so primitive, so scary, not unlike Sophia mentioned in her sermon before. I mean, who would want to sacrifice animals, right? Lambs, right? Bulls, doves. But the idea being, that's how we knew in ancient times to draw close to God. That's the system that we were given. And it probably worked very well in the ancient world for our ancient ancestors. Laying your hands on the sacrifices, which is what the priests would literally do, whether it was a bull, whether it was a ram, whether it was a lamb, whether it was a turtle dove, laying your hands on the sacrifices, that sense of touch, right? Dipping your fingers actually in the blood. The smell, the reach nichoach of the pleasing odor as it ascended in smoke up into the heavens, something that was supposed to incite our sense of smell. Even sight, right? The smoke itself that we would see. Sounds, the sounds of the animals themselves, right? The hearing, these all incited the different senses. And it was probably a way that was able to stimulate us to draw closer to God, to be able to understand God and to feel a part of something that was bigger than us, right? Think about the antecedents that our ancient ancestors had to overcome. They had been slaves in Egypt less than a year before when we're reading in this Parsha. They weren't able to worship the way they wanted. They weren't able to have a day of rest like Shabbat or observe any of the Chagim. They weren't able to determine times for themselves. When you're a slave, you can't do any of that. They weren't able to believe the way they wanted to believe, to take part in things the way they wanted to take part in things, to observe things that they wanted to. They were slaves. They were like cattle. They were told what to do, where to go, when to be there. And now they're a free people. They're given instruction. They're giving a way to feel closer to God, to coalesce as a community and coalesce as a people and coalesce around a system of beliefs, of tradition, of culture, something that would be our heritage. Now, Judaism has changed. Judaism has shifted. That started the moment we lost the Second Temple in Jerusalem in 70 of the Common Era, right? We no longer had our religious center. We couldn't offer sacrifices anywhere else, so we had to change. We became a religion of people of the book, of the Siddur, of prayer. One of the reasons, by the way, Hebrew is so important, even if it's difficult, right? Even if our native language is English or Farsi, right? The idea being this is something that links us to our biblical past, to our heritage, to Moses, to Aaron, to the patriarchs, to King David who wrote poetry, the Psalms in Hebrew. That's why it's so important. Prayer today is how we draw closer to God, how we can feel at one with God, how we can properly meditate. We don't have priests in the same sense officiating at the sacrifices or sacrificial altar anymore, or Levites who serve the same purpose. We have rabbis, we have cantors, but Judaism has also become far more egalitarian. The idea being that you don't have to be born into the priesthood, or you don't have to be born in the tribe of Levi to have a special position within the Jewish community, because anyone could become a rabbi. Anyone could become a cantor, right? Anyone could become a bar or a bat mitzvah in our tradition. There's even an equal role for women as well. And what I would want to say, what I want to leave you with is the lesson from all of this is that's why it is so important to be involved with your people, to be linked to your people, to the practice, to the observance, to find some way that it stimulates you, your sense of sight, your sense of smell, your sense of touch, your sense of hearing, some way that it touches you, right? Your being, your soul. Find something that can work for you and make that your conduit into Judaism, but you can no longer be, in this day and age, a passive observer. You can no longer just be Jewish by proxy. It's not enough to just say that. You somehow have to be involved. You somehow have to find a way to want to observe yourself, to involve yourself, to be a part of things. Because the truth is, even if it's very secondary to you, and you think it doesn't matter, or it doesn't speak to you, or it doesn't define you, the rest of the world doesn't necessarily look at things that way, right? The rest of the world may look at us as different. They can decide for us that we're Jewish, that we're different, that we're subject to being observed in a different way. And all the more so, that's why we have to be unified. That's why we have to be a part of something. That's why it is no longer enough to be a Jew by proxy, to be a passive Jew. Because I don't think the rest of the world sees it that way. If we're Jewish, if we were born Jewish, if we became a Jew by choice, then find a way to be involved. Find a way to take part. Find a way to lay your hands onto something, even if it's not an animal sacrifice. What can you do? How can you involve yourself? How can you know more? It's always possible. And Judaism, in this day and age, with the information that is out there, and the resources that are out there, both human and otherwise, it is always accessible. Just a thought and a wish that I wanted to leave you with on this Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise for the Chatzi Kaddish, which introduces the Musaf Amidah, page 155. I'd like to call up Sophia to please join the cantor on the bima.
Yikadav, Yikadash, Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'amadi barak yirte ve'amlich mahute
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה
Agala ubizman karim.
ויאמרו אמן.
Heshmei Rabba Mevorach. Leolam Lomei Amaya Yibarach. Yibarach V'yishtaba V'yipar V'yiramam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yihale V'yihala Shemei Kudushay Baruchu Leolam Minka Birachta V'shirata Tushbehata V'ne Emata Darmin Ba'alma V'yimeru Amen.
Putting our feet together and looking straight ahead at the Aron Kodesh, and of course eastward towards Jerusalem, we begin the Amidah together. Page 156, 156b.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, אלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, בזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה, אתה גיבור עולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל. סומך נופלים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו פר מי כמוך ומי מלך ממי ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נעריצך ונקדישך כסוד שיח שרפי קודש המקדישים שמך בקודש ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש קדוש. כבודו מלא עולם משרתיו שואלים זה לזה היה מקום כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ממקומו ויפן ברחמים ואחרונם המייחדים שמו ערב אבוהו בכל יום תמיד פעמיים באהבה שמע אומרים שמע
Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד הוא אלוהינו אבינו ומלכנו ומושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו שנתלנה כל חי להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם ודברי קודשך כתוב לאמור
Ledor Vador.
לדור ודור
Ledor Vador.
לדור ודור לדור ודור now people not hear you again
Ledor Vador. Ledor Vador.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד.
לדור ודור, לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך,
לדור ודור, לדור ודור,
דור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, גדול וקדוש אתה, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
which one? Oh.
Sing this, and then I continue for me.
Oh.
Wait for me, we need to finish the sentence. And then I say Elenia. No, and then I call Emma and a few kids.
I do Gemma.
Then Gemma also.
The same one. Oh.
And then all the kids come in to do it.
I could do this by myself.
Okay.
This no one knows, just Gemma.
Okay, so I think Slonim also. Emma Slonim.
I want to do Gemma.
Okay.
If you're still davening the Amidah, please don't interrupt. We conclude page 181 with Kaddish Shalem.
Yikara v'yikara shmei rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma dibarach yirutei ve'amlich mahutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'hayedechol be'Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman karim. V'yimeru amen. Yishmei rabba mevorach. Le'olam olol me'omaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishabat v'yipar v'yiramam v'yitnaset v'yihadar v'yihale v'yihala. Shmei dekudeshe baruchu. Le'olam minka birachta v'rishirata. Tushbechata v'ne'emata damrin v'amoma. V'yimeru amen.
יתקבץ לא תון ובותון דכל יסי, קדם ובון דמשמע ואימרו, אמן. יש למה רבה משמע וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו, אמן. עושה שלום. Let's be hear you clapping. הוא יעשה שלום עלה ועל כל ישראל ואימרו, אימרו. היי. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן.
And you may be seated, page 182 in Kelohenu. We'd like to invite up all of Sophia's friends and classmates and cousins who would like to join her on the Bima, page 182. Gavin, just go on up there. Come on.
Do this thing. Just read it from the English part.
She is.
Jonathan Perlman, go up. Come on. Go. You can't have your bar mitzvah unless you go on up.
All the kids can come in over. Let's go. Hot.
Can we go?
1 second. Wait. More kids coming.
Why is... Oh my God, Gavin needs to stop.
No screaming.
Gavin, reading from
Be
English.
careful. Not screaming.
Isabella, go on up there.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
En Kelohenu, en Kadonenu, en Kemalkenu, en Kemoshienu, mi Kelohenu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kamalkenu, mi Kemoshienu, no del Elohenu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkenu, no del Moshienu. Baruch Hu Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shihiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha, Koret.
And we rise for Aleinu. I'd love to see the Kruger twins up there, and Jordan, come on up, join them.
1, 2, 3.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latek gedula leotzer b'shrit velo asanu kegoye haratzot velo samanu kemishbihot hadama shelo sam helkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kehol hamonam ve'ananu korim umushtahavim umodim lifanelech Malhei HaMalkim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Noteh Shamayim Ve'yosed Haaretz U'Moshe Parah B'Shamayim Mima'al U'Shinatu Zo Be'Gokei Elohim Hu Eloheinu Ein Emet Malkeinu Efes Tilato Kakatu Naratu Be'adatayom Be'adatayom Be'hashevota Elehaveha Ki Adonai Elohim Be'ashamayim Mima'al Ve'al ha'aretz Ve'al ha'aretz Metzahad Ein od
Har כן נקבלך אדוני אלוהינו. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
נאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד
Mourner's Kaddish, page 184. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach derutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah brechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imeru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. You may be seated. Stephanie, did you want to make the announcements? Okay. You want to do it? There's nothing major. What's that? Yeah. So, Shabbat shalom, everybody. First of all, it's just some brief announcements. This is a regular week for us coming up. So Minyan times, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow, 6:15 p.m. They're both over Zoom. The rest of the week, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. over Zoom. And 6:15 again in every evening. Friday will be in person, of course. Saturday next week will be in person as well. We're also celebrating the bat mitzvah of Kira Baker. As far as further announcements, Monday I have my Mushar class at 11:30 and 7:30 p.m., both over Zoom. Ronnie Gross's class meets tomorrow and also Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. over Zoom. Tuesday is yoga, Jewish yoga. That meets in person at 10 a.m. in the adult library. It's actually a lot of fun, right? I did it. Back hurts a little bit right now, but I highly recommend it. Just more announcements coming up. We are doing our gala this year. You'll hear more about it, but that will be Tuesday evening, June 7th. We're going to be honoring Eric and Nicole Meyer and Stacy Siegel, so please join us for that. I want to thank the cantor for davening this morning. I want to, of course, thank our Bechora Habat Mitzvah girl, Sophia Sarraf. She did an amazing job. The Torah, the Haftarah, her Devar Torah, portions of the service. I want to thank her parents, Jalalda and Jonathan. We love having you here. We can't wait till Isabella's. Thank you for sponsoring the Kiddush this morning. Everyone, of course, is invited to join us after we do the Kiddush on Hamotzi here. I want to thank the stupendous Stephanie Fox, our Executive Vice President, who joined me on the Bima this morning, so I wasn't alone. I want to thank Kurtzlo Moezinia, who is in mourning, but he was our usher this morning. And of course, he's close friends with the Sarraf family, along with Herzl and Paul Sahayeg. I want to thank Nathan Yadagari and Yosef Yagane as our Gabayim. The last announcement, Wednesday evening at 6:30, I'll be doing Wednesdays with the Rabbi. That'll be in person. We're going to be talking about Nowruz. Yes, because it is the Persian New Year. We're going to be talking about with the teens, and our own Herzl Moezinia will be talking to the kids. Dinner will be from a Persian restaurant, possibly Kolbe, maybe Shiraz. And on that note, we want to thank everyone, wish them a happy Nowruz. I know not everyone here is Persian, but probably at least half the room is this morning. So happy Nowruz. It's Sunday night, is Nowruz? Tomorrow. Tomorrow is Nowruz. So thank you. Let's have one last kale. Thank you for all the visitors who are here this morning. It's an honor to have you. Thank you to our teacher, Rivka Alon. Anything I left out? Oh, yes. Thank you. The congregation meeting has been moved. It was supposed to be Monday the 28th. It's been moved to Thursday the 31st. It's over Zoom? It's over Zoom at 8:30 p.m., March 31st. Did I have another announcement, Nathan?
Why are people talking too much? Hello.
Oh, okay. We'll instruct them. Don't worry. Please, we're going to do Adon Olam and then Kiddush and Hamotzi. So page 187. Sophia gets to pick the tune.
Adon Olam. Let's go. Chat. Okay. Adon Olam. Chat. Time. Shalom.
Adon Olam Asher Mala B'Terim Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'Nasa Chazal Kol Zay Melech Shemo Nivra
Hit the microphone. Adon. Vehu Haya.
Vehu Hoveh. Vehu Yiyeh B'Tifara. Vehu Echad Vein Sheni. L'hamshil lo l'habira. B'li Reshit. B'li Tachlit. V'lo ha'oz v'hamisra. Vehu Eli. Vehe Goli. V'tzur Hevli. B'et Zara. Vehu Nisi Umanosli. Minat Kosi Biom Yikra. Biado Akid Ruhi. be'et isha ve'a'ira, ve'imru hi givayati, Adonai li velo ira. Can I say it?
And please come forward, join us for Kiddush and Amotzi. We have grape juice for the children, and we have wine, which tastes like grape juice for the adults.
Mazel tov.